All right, so this sucks. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. If you're on the left, you probably know what I'm talking about. Last night there was a special primary election in Ohio's 11th congressional district, and Nina Turner, the left candidate, lost. She lost by about, as you can see here, a little more than 5.5 points. And she lost to Shontel Brown, who was endorsed by people like Hillary Clinton. That should tell you everything you need to know about her right there. And yeah, it sucks, especially because it looked like Nina Turner was going to win. She was a front runner for a while, but I think after the experience with the presidential primary last year, seeing Bernie Sanders sweep the first three contests. I mean, he won the popular vote in Iowa. He won in New Hampshire. He absolutely crushed in Nevada. But from there on out, it just didn't go well for him. And that was for a number of reasons, obviously. Obviously, all the other moderate or establishment candidates dropping out and endorsing Biden. That absolutely pretty much ended the race. And, likewise now, Nina, she was the front runner for a while, and she was outraising Shontel Brown. But when you look here, this is a tweet that's since been deleted, but didn't really make any less true. With an update from the Democratic Action PAC, the pro-Turner super PAC that was fundraising for her side, the totals for either side are, and this is for outside spending, either pro-Turner or anti-Brown, $904,000. Okay, that's quite a bit of money, but nothing compared to this. Either pro-Brown or anti-Turner, almost $2.7 million. So it was clear the deck was stacked against her. Even though Nina Turner had more individual donations than Shontel Brown, the outside spending was just massive in this race. And, when you look at Democratic majority for Israel, am I getting that right? Yeah, DMFI, I got it right. They spent way more than like any other super PAC did on this race. I mean, look at that. Just look at that compared to the rest. And the next one that comes close is another anti-Turner PAC, Third Way, and then the next one after that is a pro-Turner PAC, but again, nothing compared to that. So it's clear right now. Like, it's clear that it's clear right here that Democrats would rather beat leftists than be conservatives. I mean, honestly, at this point, if you were to deny that, I think you have to be pretty naive. But I don't want to make this whole thing about why Nina lost. I think that there's plenty of reasons for that. This, of course, being one of them. But I don't want to play the blame game because that's not what I'm here for. What I'm here to do is, I think at this point, this was a win that is crushing for a lot of us. So we need to figure out kind of where do we go from here? Well, I've seen a lot of other people on the left on Twitter saying that they're just going to completely check out and they're done with politics. And to those people, I say, don't you effing dare. Like, seriously, don't. Like, I'm not going to accept you doing that. I get it. It's your choice. It's your life. You can do whatever the hell you want to do, but that is the worst possible thing you can do. Because if you check out, you've turned what as of now is a temporary win for the corporate wing, for the corporatists, and you've essentially made it permanent because you said, okay, now I'm just going to be completely done and I'm going to be done riding your ass and holding your feet to the fire. If that's your attitude, then they win. Do you want them to win? My best guess is probably no. Now, is this me saying that we need to continue going down the path of electoralism? Yes and no. If you want to continue supporting leftists progressives for Congress, go right ahead. Like, I am not going to stop you from doing it. In fact, in many instances, I'll probably support you as you do it. But with the way things are going now and the situation that we're in, it can't be our main focus. And, in fact, I did a thread on this last night after we learned that the race was over and Shontel Brown was going to win. We need to devote our attention and energy to direct action. And we can arguably have an even greater influence through this path than we can through elections, especially ones at the congressional level. And, they say all politics is local. Real change starts at the state and local level. Most change begins at the state and local level. We see, when we see some of the biggest changes that have been happening lately, they've all started at the state and local level. And throughout history, that's what happens as well. I mean, women's suffrage, gay marriage, interracial marriage, these movements began at the state level, and eventually they led to federal victory. And we're seeing it now with policies like marijuana legalization, where it may seem small right now, but it's only a matter of time before we get it at the federal level. There's no going back at this point. Let's be honest. I mean, almost half the country can legally access marijuana. So it's only a matter of time, really, before we get to the federal level. And I think everybody, to one extent or another, understands that. So when we push to make these changes at the state and local level, that's going to lead to a snowball effect. So as I say right here, talk with like-minded people in your community and find, or hell, even found, create grassroots organizations that are going to push for the issues you care about. For me personally, at school and college, I work with a group called Massberg. I've worn a t-shirt for that in at least one of my past videos, but it's a group. It's part of the Public Interest Research Group, which is a national group. This is the Massachusetts state chapter, because Massachusetts is where I go to college. I mean, I did work with them over the last semester. We pushed a bill in the Massachusetts state legislature to get the state to 100% renewable energy, and we made significant progress on it. We built an astounding amount of on-campus support for the bill by talking with people and spreading the word. And we generated several phone calls to our campus's state senator, who had not co-sponsored the bill, and she agreed to co-sponsor it. And, just a couple of days ago, it's Wednesday morning as I'm recording this. So on Monday, right here in Connecticut, home of Hartford, the health insurance capital of the world, the second largest city in the state, New Haven, the Board of Alders passed a resolution in support of Medicare for All. And thanks to the work of people like Medicare for All Connecticut, this win was possible. And, as I say in this thread, which you can find on my Twitter, it may not seem like much. These wins may not seem like much. But if we're being honest, are they really that? Would Nina have winning really been that much bigger? Again, we all would have loved for Nina to win. I would have loved for Nina to win. But what would it have done big picture? Think about it. She would have been just one congressperson out of 435. Now, with recently Biden taking action on, to a certain extent, I agree. I acknowledge that there are some that it is a little means tested, reinstating the eviction moratorium, thanks to the work of people like Cori Bush. Having Nina in Congress would have been great, especially given the leadership quality she has in her. But at the same time, nothing comes overnight. It's all a process. And I know it sounds like I'm making an argument for incrementalism here, and I don't like that. I don't want that to be the case. The reality is, progress is progress, and it's worth celebrating. I know it sounds cliche, but I think it's a message that a lot of us need at this time. And every additional co-sponsor that a bill of importance gets, thanks to the work of activists who are holding their feet to the fire. Every city council that passes a resolution in support of good policy. And every time that that you inform people of such policy and get them to support it and get them to come to your side and get them to come to a protest or get them to take an action that gets us one step closer to that policy. It matters. So I'm telling all of you this to say this. Direct action is the best path. And these wins feel about it just as good as Nina winning would have felt, because we're getting closer. Whether or not you see it now, it's happening. And in a way also, I want to do a video on this because I think this race really highlights something that I've known in the back of my mind for a while now. People, at least when it comes to the economic issues, on the policy substance, the American people are with the left, but they just don't vote for left candidates. And I think we can have a debate and discussion as to why that is. And I want to make a video about that because I think it's definitely a topic worth exploring. And if the left wants to get better at winning these races, that's something they need to address head on, because it is a problem. But this is why direct action is really important, because if you know they're with you on the policy substance, you can get them to fight for those issues you can put aside your candidate differences and focus on the policy substance, which is what matters the most. And, again, if you still want to focus on electoralism, by all means. Me personally, I'm still going to focus on it somewhat. However, it'll mostly be at the state and local level, because again, that's where most change leads. Not to mention, leftists generally do better there. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that they're not really tied to the National Democratic Party. And it's like we saw in Seattle yesterday. Lorena Gonzalez looks like she's going to head to the mayoral general election in November. She's been endorsed by Bernie Sanders. So I think that this is absolutely a race worth fighting for. I definitely think that the left's prime focus when it comes to electoralism should be on state and local races, because again, that's where we're going to see the biggest change. That's going to make, honestly, the most direct impact on people's lives. And again, lead to a snowball effect, because the more states that implement certain policies, the more it'll lead to a domino effect later on. And that's going to matter in the long run. So at the end of the day, this is a loss that sucks for all of us. Let's not sugarcoat it. But we can't let it stop us. We can't let it define us. We have to keep moving forward and lick our wounds, figure out what went wrong here, and come back 10 times stronger next time. And I hope that I've given you some insight as to how we can do that. I know my explanations might not have come off as the best, but it's a little early in the morning here. So I'm kind of out of it. But I'm willing to hear what you guys think we should do to move on from this. Sound off in the comments below. I will accept a lot of discussion on this. I'm not going to accept we need to just completely give up on the system, because that's exactly what the establishment wants from us. And we shouldn't give them what they want. I just saw Rise Against in concert lately. Rise Against obviously is a band I've talked about on here before. I saw them in concert a few days ago. The song that they opened with, the new song from them, with the poignant lyric of, "They have the power, but we have the numbers." If they didn't spend all this money trying to defeat Nina, they wouldn't have been afraid of the left. They are afraid of the left. And it's time we show the force that they think that we are. Thank you so much for watching. If you're feeling down, I get it. I'm with you. But let's show solidarity with one another. And again, come back 10 times stronger. If you want to see more of my discussion videos, you can check that right over here. Otherwise, you can check out my latest video right over here. And I'll see y'all later, comrades. Peace.